Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. And welcome to the Feast of St. Matthias. Today, the Church has us, in the Easter season, celebrate the Feast of Matthias. He was the one upon whom the lot fell. He would replace Judas Iscariot. So today's feast really reminds me that we're constantly being offered the chance to start again, to put life together again in a way that brings fresh hope and enthusiasm to ourselves and to the people we're connected with. There's always an opportunity to repair or to restore the life of the community. The community, the first community of faith, was shattered by Judas's behaviour. Mind you, he's leading the temple police and pointing out Jesus to them in the Garden of Olives was no bigger an act of betrayal than that of Peter, who pretended that he'd never even met Jesus. I take real comfort from the saying, God writes straight with crooked lines. God can somehow take the messes we make out of our lives and turn them into moments of grace and new beginnings. So the feast today reminds us that the very beginning of our church was a mix of our human weakness and the reassuring presence of Christ, his healing and his freeing presence. It was just that Judas and Peter reacted to their failures in very different ways. One reacted by letting the disgust and the despair lead him to think there was no hope, and that led to death for Judas. He'd been a friend chosen by Jesus. The other man decided, Peter, that he could learn from his terrible failure and grow into a real man and a real leader. And over these last weeks, we've been surrounded by uncertainty and fear that's helped us to imagine some of the worst things. So maybe the coronavirus can be a moment for God to write straight with crooked lines once again in our lives. And that he can bring resurrection and new life and fresh hope into what has looked pretty much like a big, fat mess. What are we going to make of our experience over these past weeks and months? Is it all about losing something that was important? Or is it an invitation from the Spirit of Jesus to put life together so that we value life more and learn to treasure one another more? The Feast of Matthias, the substitute apostle, reminds us that there's always a way forward and that we can grow through the things that challenge and frighten us and give us the chance to become more ourselves, more human, more like Christ, who shows us what real love really looks like. In today's gospel, Jesus says, remain in my love. And I've told you this so that my own joy may be in you and your joy may be complete. And he says, this is my commandment, love one another just as I have loved you. So I wish you a good day, and let's see if we can find extra ways to show that love for one another.